Buddy, thank you for joining me today. Um, this is a project that I was doing for a group, a Facebook group, and it was to create a recipe book. And I used their digitals. The digitals is by Paperomia, and I love their digitals. Although she is Cuban, but she is Italian descent. On her father's side, they were Italian, and on the mom's side, my grandmother's side of the family, um, of my mom, they were Cuban. Um, so that's why the Interian, it's an Italian last name. So here's the cover. I did this. Um, I didn't record from the beginning because, I mean, you already know this is a digital. I did this on Canva. This is really a picnic table, but I picked it because it reminds me of the Betty Crocker cookbook. You know, look at it. In fact, here is one of the recipes that my mom had saved from a Betty Crocker cookbook that she kept. And you see here the pattern, there it is. And you can see that it's similar. So I try to keep it, you know, to that look. So I did this. I printed this out of cardstock. And again, I got this from Canva, the digital. I printed it. And this recipe card, I'm not sure if this came from Paperomia or from another digital, but I have this. And then I did this like a grocery list, little flip, you know, for when you go do your groceries, you write your little thing. I was supposed to have turned this around so land on the white, but you know what, who cares? It's fine. And I sewed around it. You know, I left the little strings there on the side, but I sewed around it just to give it that extra, you know, touch. And here is a card from a recipe book that I have bought from a live video that Brenda does every Thursday. And this was from a recipe book, original recipe book from the 1950s. I made a photocopy of it because I didn't want to break it apart, and I printed in the back the red and white. So I'm going to use this as a, I'm not sure if I'm going to use that as a belly band. You know, I think I will, because I can't very well use it as a side pocket. Well, let me see. Can I use it as a, I guess I can do it as a side pocket and then put this on the side. I just might glue the top on the sides, and then I'll just, you know, put it on the side. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So I'm just going over the stuff of what I'm going to do. So I 3-hole punched it because I am going to bind it with this color string, and I'm gonna tie it up. So here is one of my mother's cutout recipes that if she cut it out, it's because she made it. Well, unfortunately here in the bottom, I guess she cut off a little piece, but it's really not, it's not detrimental to the recipe. But here's a recipe of rosemary chicken and vegetables, $100 winner recipe, I guess. So that person won, and it got posted in the Betty Crocker. On the other side is the Italian sausage and spinach casserole, you know, and I'm gonna insert it like this. So it'll be like this, and this will be the page. And it says here, in Spanish, it says recipes of my mom. So it had a different name on there. And because I put this in Canva, I was able to change the name here. So I put Chef Maria and her favorite recipes, because my mom's name, Maria. So I did that. I changed it so that it'll say my mom's name instead. Then here's, look at this beautiful digital, the way it looks in the back. Isn't that beautiful? Again, this is from Paperomia. And See, this is the recipe my mom had in her recipe book that I got from her. Apricot bread pudding and crunchy pecan pumpkin custard, right? You know, it's kind of pretty appropriate that, especially we just passed Thanksgiving. So I am going to put that, I'm going to bind it together like that. Okay. And then I did this. This is together. This is the recipe that was in this book. I just, you know, I photocopied it so that I can use it here. I sewed it on to this cardstock. I printed on the cardstock. It's haddock with oysters, haddock rabbit, fish casserole with rice, and Maryland fish casserole. So I sewed it on to this cardstock here. Again, I did the holes because this is gonna be like that. So here, I sewed this on here and made it into a little side pocket. And I had included, this is also from Paperomia, a picture of this cottage. This is so pretty. You know, it looks like a little big old stamp. A picture of a book. And here is a recipe. So you can write your own recipes in here. This is a clipping that my mom had in her recipe book, you know, adobo. Now, this is a Spanish recipe, is the way we would do it. But it's in English. So, you know, it's how to make chicken. It's marinated chicken, Cuban style, and it's called adobo. So there's this recipe. Now here, it had a different name, and I put Mima, my mom. Mima means mom. It's another loving way of saying mom, okay? And I got this picture off of Canva, and this little old lady showed up. Now, it just so happens that this lady's body looks exactly like my mother's. So I got a picture of my mom's, and I took it out, and I put it, I photoshopped it to have my mom's face, the other lady's body, but I'll tell you what, it looks just like my mom, you know? So I did that. I printed a picture of this frame. This type of frame with this gold like that, very popular amongst, you know, Latin family. There's always a frame, you know, with a quinceañera, with a 15s picture. Americans do sweet 16s. We do 15s. So I just thought it was fitting. I put it in that frame, had that kitchen background, and I put my mom's face on this lady's body. But I'll tell you what, it's exactly. And I changed the name here to say Chef Maria. I changed the name so it'll, you know, be my mom's. So that would be that. And you turn it around. And this is, again, it's just the background to Paperomia. It's got some nice, you know, writing in the back. I just loved it. You know, it's just got some writing on here. You know, sometimes they write stuff and then it's like, I don't even know what it says or it doesn't make sense. Well, you know, it does have nice writing. It's in English and it makes sense. So there's that. And I try to include as many recipes because, I mean, it is a recipe book, you know. Here is frozen chocolate covered bananas. You know, I got that. And here's another recipe card. Again, I put a lot of recipe cards so that the person can put their own and write their own recipes on here. Okay, so here it is. This is, again, from that cookbook. I made a photocopy of it, of course. I did all of that. And this is on Noodle Surprise, Scallop Tuna, Raspberry Delight, and the use of vanilla ice cream. Again, these are recipes from back of the 50s. Then I had the cardstock and I stamped all these coffees because Cubans, we love our coffee. We love our coffee. So I got this from a newspaper advertisement from our junk mail, Hot Fresh Kitchen Cafe. So I'm going to put that together there. Now, this is something I printed off of Canva, this digital. This is my mother's personal recipe in her handwriting. I shrunk it to size. I put it here, and it's called filete de cerdo, pork fillets. And here is gallinitas al Zinfandel. So this is hens made with Zinfandel. And again, it's in Spanish. Some of it I was able to decipher. I mean, I speak Spanish, but something she wrote, I couldn't translate. I really wanted to translate this in English for you and include it. I might do it later. There. So, I wrote here, Recetas de mi mamá. It's from 1974 because she wrote on the back the year. She used to do that on everything. Ella tenía pasión de cocinar. So I wrote here in English, my mom's recipe from 1974. She had a passion for cooking. Okay. This is her recipe of what she made. Okay. So that's that. Meatball bolognese sauce. I printed that here. Again, clippings from our newspaper. I'm going to glue all this down. This is from Paperomia. The digitals. Here I was trying to do something. It didn't work out, so I just did a huge pocket on here. So I sewed up the edges. Isn't that beautiful? I'll tell you what. You have to check out Paperomia's digitals. They are wonderful. I'm going to tell you what I did here. So these are recipes, again, from that cookbook from 1950. Okay, I printed it on the cardstock. There it is. Now, here is a recipe that my mom wrote. This is her secret recipe on a meatloaf that I learned, and everybody, when I make it and I serve it, everybody loves it. You know, and my mom had a saying, you know, and it's funny because she wrote on the top, you know, in Spanish, meatloaf de mami, you know, my mom's meatloaf. And it was, you know, and she wrote in Spanish, but I translated in English, her way or you don't eat. It says, no te gusta, no coma, a la cama. En Cuba no hay ni comida. So I translated it. Don't like it, don't eat it. Go to bed. Kids in Cuba don't have food to eat. You know, we grew up hearing that. So we always had to clean off our plate. I mean, every last thing of rice, you had to eat it, or you weren't getting up off that table. I'll tell you what. So this is my mom's secret recipe on how to make the meatloaf, and I'm including it in here to share with y'all. So that recipe is all in here, and I included it in this big old pocket right here. So that is that. And here's, you know, my mom's recipe. It's the same one that's here, but bigger. And I made it into a pocket. And again, a recipe card in there. Okay. And here is another recipe here of my mom's, of a fruit, some fruit salad that she made. I included this here. Again, it's from the book of the 1950s. I reduced it. As you see it, you know, is there. It says, ask your neighbors about this medicine. And it's, again, medicine from the 50s. The use of a lot of milk. Recipe books had a lot of information in it back then that was useful. Here is another recipe, lentil soup in a casserole, chicken soup in the oven, so on and so forth. And these huge stamps from Paperomia that I've included. Here I got this from a newspaper clipping. I'm going to include this. This is jalapenos with cream cheese wrapped in bacon. Yum. It's like jalapeno poppers, but wrapped in bacon. Everyday living. And then in Spanish, it says simplificando tu vida. Simplifying your life. And that was my mom. So I'm going to be gluing all of these down, putting it together on this page. Okay. And again, It is Paperomia. Here's the cover of one of the cookbooks that I bought, again, from the 50s or maybe the 40s. This cookbook was 95 cents. So look at that. I think that's something. It's going to have, again, a recipe card on here. And cream cheese pasta. This is a belly band that I'm going to stick this here in the middle. I stamped this, you know, brick background. I figured it's fitting, so I did on the cardstock. Again, I got this from the junk mail that comes in. This is a very popular Cuban food. It's called ropa vieja with rice. If you translate it, it's called old clothes. Don't ask me why they will call shredded beef old clothes, but it's ropa vieja. Okay, it's a very famous, popular Cuban dish, and it says authentic flavor for less. And then, you know, I'm gonna be putting something delicious without the effort. And I know how to make this. It really is. It's good and it's easy. Here I have another page, fresh organic. I'm doing the little side tuck. I'm gonna put this here, simple, entertaining, entretenimiento sencillo. It's just a translation of that. You know, here it's gonna have a pocket. You can put whatever you want. Grandma's old recipe book. Again, Paperomia. Here's the back. I mean, isn't this just beautiful? It is so beautiful. It makes me just, I don't know, I love that era. I love that era. My mom's handwritten recipe and recipe card. Here. So here we have, I did a small little, this is going to be here. Information about for nervous women. Just an article. Again, this is from Paperomia. And I made this little insert pop, you know. And it says breads you will like, and it's got a little recipe in there. And I'm gonna glue this down here. Achieve gifting greatness. So that is that. Hot food, I'm gonna glue this down here. Paperomia. It's from the recipe book, Tempting Cakes. There's the recipe. And here I did a belly band, and I'm gonna put this recipe card in here. So this is my way of dedicating this to my mom, because I love her. I love her very much. And so here is the recipe book. So there it is, folks. All nice and done. Okay. Flips this way. This one has a pocket. Picture of my mama. My mamita. Mi mima. You know. God bless her. And there you go. I hope you like it. I know I didn't show you from beginning to end, but you got the gist of it. Y'all know how this works, how it is. So again, I gotta put the little thing to let people know there's a tab there. Okay. Oops. I just realized this got stuck to each other. Whoa. All right. There you go. I'm struggling a little bit because of the way I sewed it. Not sewed it, strapped it up. But it's all good. It's all good. It's the first time I do that. So I might not be doing that again. I'm not going to say I might not. I won't be doing that again. But all in all, I made it with love, with my mommy in mind. And I hope y'all like it. Again, the digitals are from Paperomia. Please go ahead and go to her Ko-fi shop, her Ko-fi website. And I don't know if she's still on Etsy, but you can look her up. And print out her digitals. She has a Facebook group also. So if you're into this, look her up. Beautiful digitals, beautiful. The next project I'm gonna do is an homage of my heritage. I'm gonna be doing a Cuban journal. Everything that has to do about Cuba from back in the day. And that's gonna be an homage to my dad. Well, to my heritage. My dad loves country western. So I am gonna do a country western. John Wayne was his favorite actor. John Wayne, what? And that show Bonanza, oh girl, please. I had to watch that for I don't know how long. Woo! At first I hated it, and you know I watch it now. I love it. I look at the reruns. Yep. There's another Western show that we would watch, and he loved everything country and Western. That was my dad. And boxing. So, and comedies. He loved Red Skelton. All right. Well, that's enough. Take care. I love you, but God loves you more. Lo quiero.